The news business has changed a lot in the last 3 decades. The manner and speed in which we learn about our world has had a dramatic effect on how the news is reported and consumed. To get a perspective on this, I spoke to a local radio reporter.
My name is Quinn Kleinfelter. I'm a senior news editor at WDET in Detroit, and I do stories for NPR and the BBC World Service. Well, up until the last few decades, people basically had to wait for what the traditional news organizations, TV networks, newspapers, radio, had to say. They were the first gatekeepers. They were the people that would judge what came in and what was really of use to people in the wider world. News organizations would put people across the globe to try to get things to people faster. They would also have editors and others that would examine what was coming out over the airwaves or in print to make sure that it was accurate. One reason that the internet and social media has taken on much more of a bigger role now. People can customize it. They can find out what they want to from it. Don't need to wait until the news finally gets to it to tell them what has happened. For one, Paris is a well-known and beloved commodity to particularly people in the West, as opposed to other regions that may seem very far away. There's also a fair amount of U.S. news organizations that have bureaus in Paris, so it's something that they're familiar with doing and have the personnel there in place. I think in many ways it's because Paris felt very much closer to the U.S. and to, quote, Western ways, whereas places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Kenya can sometimes seem almost too far away to really have an impact on a U.S. citizen's daily life. One is that sometimes, stereotypically, people will expect this to happen. So when even a wide-scale, massive tragedy happens, it's something that may not seem unexpected to some people. Also, just the actual nuts and bolts of trying to cover such things in some of those countries are harder in many ways because there's a greater physical risk. It takes a lot of money to have people over there. It does for our military. It also does for any media coverage. The media is a business. Even nonprofits like public radio, they still depend on underwriting and other things to try to stay afloat. So the media is doing a service not only to the public by informing them of what's going on and warning them about what could be. It's also doing a service to the media companies because they're able to attract an audience. With the continuing increase, it seems, of terrorism, that line as to what do you tell, when do you tell it, what do you cover, and what do you try to put on that's going to rivet an audience without unduly alarming them, that line gets blurrier and blurrier as the years go by.